My name is Amanda Oliveira. I'm a Credo Catholic born in Oregon, and my parents were born in Michoacan, Mexico. And where they lived in farms that were quite a few hours away from the nearest city, town. So they didn't really go to Mass at all. Sometimes the bishop would go and do like confirmations or baptisms and things like that, or a marriage, and they would go into the farms. But other than that, they did not have a church easily like accessible to them. So when they came to the United States, they started going to Mass on Sundays, but I wouldn't say it was all the time. Like if we wanted to go camping, or my dad wanted to go hunting, or family came over, or we went out of state, we wouldn't like look for a church to go to, you know. So maybe we were like really tired that Sunday morning, my parents were, and we wouldn't go. So yeah, it was mostly we would, but sometimes we wouldn't, right? And then after, I would say my mom had like a conversion, like a reversion to her Catholic faith, is when we were going to church every Sunday. And my dad was not like super happy about it, because when he wanted to go camping, he wanted to stay there well into Sunday and then drive home, right? So we weren't able to do that because my mom wanted to go to Mass. And he was, throughout his life after that, a little grumpy when it came to that. He wasn't the happiest, and he didn't find there to be that much of a need to go every single Sunday. And sometimes he would say that he's going to stop going or things like that, but he didn't, thanks be to God, stop going to Mass. And I realized how happy my mom was. And I've always been, especially growing up, but still today, a people pleaser, I would say. And seeing my parents and like the struggles they had with one of my siblings at the time, I just wanted to please them. I wanted to, kind of ease that burden on them and not be another child that was a little difficult for them. So when my mom started going to church and inviting us, I started going because I wanted to make her happy. Then she invited me to a retreat that she had gone to. And that's when I was like, wow, this is like the real deal. Jesus is real. Jesus loves me. And I need to give my life to him. So after that point, it became my faith, not just my parents' faith. And I think something that was very beautiful was that after that retreat, my dad gifted me a green Spanish Jerusalem, I think it's called, Bible. It was so like touching to me, because I knew that he believed in God, but I don't know if he's ever read a Bible, but he gifted me one. He told me, I guess you're gonna need this, huh? And I was like, yeah, I guess I will. And that was just such a special moment. And then after that, I started meeting weekly with people of the group and at church, and my mom was there as well. And when I went to college, I went to Portland, the city of Portland, to complete the dental hygiene program. And so I couldn't meet weekly with them anymore, but I was gaining so much out of that, like learning how to pray, learning more about the Catholic faith that I had no idea about, right? We have a lot of misconceptions about our own faith, which is really sad, but it's pretty common in the Catholic faith, I would say. Sometimes it's because the catechists maybe don't know their faith well enough when they're teaching us growing up, because they're volunteers, so. And so I went to Portland, continued to go to Mass, and I like really got into like Catholic Answers. I was listening to that all the time. I was praying the Divine Mercy Chaplet. I would pray the Rosary here and there, but that's always been like a little difficult for me to pray the Rosary, because in my mind I think like, oh, it's so long, it's going to take me so much time, even though it doesn't. So the Divine Mercy Chaplet is something that I was praying all the time. Yeah, it was like a beautiful growing experience for sure, getting into like apologetics, and I was like on fire. I was like, yes. Like, I'm so thankful that I'm coming to realize that I am in the one true church, with everything that I was listening to and reading. I was going to Mass, like I said, every Sunday. There was a few Sundays because of like school or things that I did miss, but I would go to confession. after the first year of the program, I got married to my husband, and then we continued to go to church. And then after I finished the program, the day of my graduation, I found out that I was pregnant. So I was like, oh, cool, we're going to have a baby. I was a little worried and fearful. I was like, when I found out I was pregnant, I think I was 22. But I was like, hey, I have my husband. Like, this is going to be beautiful. So we moved back home, and I had my son. My mom had been in a severe car accident before I got married, 2017. And we thought we were going to lose her. And my sister was, they thought they were going to have to amputate her foot, and it was really bad. But thanks be to God, they were okay. My mom was just still in like not the best condition because of what happened to her. Her like skull was detached from her vertebrae. She has like metal plates on her neck. She can't move like that. She has to move her whole body to turn one way or another. And my sister has trouble with her ankle. She has so much metal in her ankle, like, because her ankle shattered, So when I came back home, I was thankful to be home with them and help them a little bit in their healing. My sister was doing pretty well. I would say maybe because she was so young when it happened to her. I think she was like 15 or so, or 14, going on 15 when it happened. So I was thankful to be home. I was very thankful to be home with them. And I thank God every day for saving my mom and my sister from potentially losing their lives that day. We had our firstborn, and he was diagnosed with autism at 18 months. And it was during COVID, so the diagnosis process happened via Zoom. And when my husband got home from work that day, I went outside and I told him, hey, Adriel does have autism. And he like got on his motorcycle and like drove off. And I was like, what just happened? Am I left alone now to deal with everything? I was still going through postpartum depression at 18 months, and it just all hit me, his diagnosis, the depression. I still carried anxiety after my mom's and my sister's accident. That's when I started getting panic attacks after their accident. So yeah, my world it was like a perfect little storm, right? And I started taking medication for anxiety because I couldn't handle it. I was a mess. And that did help quite a bit. And I went to therapy for a little bit, but I just kind of put a big Band-Aid on everything with the medication. And then in 2022, my dad passed away pretty suddenly. And I was like a crazy person during that time. Before he had passed and he was in the hospital, I would like run out, seek strangers, and ask for them to pray for my dad. Just beg them. They probably thought I was kind of cuckoo. My dad passed away in April of 2022, and I was just crying every day. I was a hot mess. Didn't really want to pray for a bit. Didn't really want to go to Mass, but I was still going to Mass because before we got married, my husband and I, he told me that we were not going to stop going to Mass ever. No matter if things got hard or what was going on, that we were never going to stop going to Mass. Even if we stopped praying or whatever, we were not going to stop going to Mass. So we continued to go to Mass. Slowly but surely, I started praying again and kind of trying, enjoying life a little bit again. And then I became pregnant, and I named my little guy after my dad. And a few months after having my son, I think I was just way too overwhelmed. I have ADHD, and I think that I may potentially be on the spectrum as well, but I've never gotten diagnosed for autism, and I don't think I ever will. It's like a very expensive and long process, and I've made it this far, so I don't know if it would make a difference, but I've found a lot of things that that I feel like I can totally relate to. So I was so overwhelmed after having my second boy, him crying, me not sleeping. My son had a kidney infection and had to be on antibiotics. And I started feeling like these really bad, intense symptoms, like neurological symptoms. I would go to the ER, I would get MRIs, I would see a neurologist, I had a lot of labs done, and everything came back normal. So I thought I was going crazy. And I remember one day at the ER, I said, God, if you're real, please heal me and I'll give my life to you. And I feel very embarrassed to say that I even said that because I know he exists. Growing my whole life, I knew he existed. Why did I say that? I think it was just the intense fear that I was feeling in the moment and feeling alone and feeling like there isn't a God because this was happening. And I had just had my son. I was going through depression and for postpartum and then feeling all these symptoms. I felt so alone. So I think that's what kind of got me to the point of saying that. Yeah, just intense symptoms that continued for, I would say, 2.5 years, probably. I was a mess. I was a mess. And I started listening to videos on anxiety. And the guy said he was Catholic. And he brought up a book called The Book on Miracles and was doing meditations and certain practices. And I thought to myself, oh, okay, he's a Catholic. I can listen to him safely and know that my soul isn't at jeopardy. Or so I thought. And slowly but surely, I started realizing that the Book on Miracles is like, it really is a different gospel for sure, 100%. But in the moment, I was like, oh, okay, this sounds good. This sounds right. Yeah, there can't be a hell. Like, yeah, just so many things. And the meditations, him talking about like energy centers, I later found were like chakras or things like that, Reiki, I don't know. And then we were doing a practice that now I know was to open your third eye, that in the moment he didn't say it that way, and I bet he's just trying to help people and he thinks he's doing the right thing for sure. I'm sure he's not trying to harm people, but he wasn't being fully transparent, I would say, with the practices and their names and their origins. So that was going on. I was doing that. And it was like in a span of like 2 months that I was doing that and learning about that. And then I also had a lot of self-help books that are new agey that I thought to myself, I'm just going to take what serves me and leave the rest. I'm not going to get into that and believe that, right? So I thought, but you take it all in when you're reading those things. Yeah, so all of that was going on. And my mom and my husband, they were, after everything I was going through and crying every day, they were probably like happy to see that I wasn't anymore. I wasn't having like panic attacks 24/7 or them having to stay home to be with me, because that's how it was. I had my mom, my husband, my sister sometimes stay home and be with me. A priest came to talk to me a few times and I just couldn't control myself. Like my anxiety was just, I was in super like fight or flight mode and I could not calm down. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I lost 20 pounds. Like it was like ridiculous. Yeah, I couldn't be alone. I couldn't be alone. Wonderful friends that would come as well. And my sister, siblings, like my brothers, my sister-in-law, like everyone was so helpful and everyone probably thought I was crazy. And I felt like such a burden to everyone and I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to kill myself, but I just didn't want to be here because I didn't want to be a burden to everyone. I would just look at my boys and be like, I'm going to be gone with all these symptoms, all these intense things that nobody can figure out what I have, but I know that this is going to kill me. That's what I would think. I would see myself dead already. I would see myself at my funeral already. I was imagining all of those things. I would tell my husband, babe, find yourself a good lady that would take care of our kids. And now I'm like, what was I saying? But in the moment, with everything, that was like another like super crazy storm, like a perfect storm that happened as well in my life. I would pray, I would ask God for help, but I was focusing so much on those things I was listening to and reading over Jesus, even though I thought he was a part of all that. There came a day where my husband had already left to work and I was laying down in bed and just looking around my room. And then we have like little glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. I started feeling like they were becoming closer and closer. I was like, what's going on? Am I being like lifted? Because that's literally what it felt like. And then, so I was like really close to the stars on the ceiling. And then out of nowhere, like I was like flipped and I could see the bed and my son's laying down. And then again, I could see the stars. So I felt like I was being flipped like this. And it was like kind of getting faster and faster. And I was feeling dizzy. And I got so scared. I felt so much panic. And I thought to myself, I'm going to say the name of Jesus. And when I thought that, I heard this mocking voice tell me, that's not going to help you. Like in this disgusting, mocking, laughing way. Like a voice I've never heard before. Tell me, that's not going to help you. And I tried, Jesus, 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 until I could say it. And then I was brought down on the bed. And I was like, what just happened? I was able to get up and look around. Like, what just happened? I was so scared. And when my husband got home, I told him what happened. And he's like, babe, you need to see a priest. And I was like, no. I still said no. I was like, no, I'm okay. It was just like a sleep paralysis thing, you know? And then, like within 2 days, I saw a video of a real Catholic man talking about the New Age and how he got into that and everything, all the doors that you're opening. And I was like, whoa, I do need to see a priest. I do need to see a priest. So I went to confession. And so he did perform like a exorcism prayer on me. And I was like, wow, this is so serious. This is so serious. I did not realize how serious this was. And I was like, barely dabbling into these things. Like I can't even imagine people that are like so deep into the occult and the New Age. I can't even imagine all the doors that they're opening. So yeah, so scary. And I got out of that and I told my husband what happened and he's like, you see? And I'm like, damn, what was I doing? I was like wanting anything. I was wanting to do anything to be healed. But I wasn't looking at the real source, like God. Like the New Age and the occult, they appear to be like, you know, like a good thing. And it's not from God. It really is not. And so after that, I started reading the Bible every day. I like went through the whole New Testament within like a week or less and started reading the Old Testament. And I haven't finished the Old Testament, which I'm sad to say, but it's the truth. I haven't finished it. But I will. And I just started, reading it and seeing like how amazing Jesus is. And I've, heard the Gospels read and books from the Old Testament read at church. But this was so different. It was so different when you yourself are there reading the Bible and just focusing all in, And sorry, my little guy woke up. Yeah, Jesus, how many times in the Bible does it say to not fear? I think I saw something about it being like 365. I don't know if that's true. But I was like, wow, that's right. We shouldn't be living in fear, We should be living in his word, in peace, knowing that he's with us no matter what we're going through, no matter what hardships we're facing. Like, he's with us. And we don't need to be seeking for answers elsewhere. Like, everything is in his Bible, in his church. What are we doing? The book on miracles, what is that? Like, who came up with that? An atheist lady that was getting downloads and she was sitting down writing that out. Doesn't that sound kind of weird? Doesn't that sound kind of suspicious? So I thought to myself, okay, you do have to go all in for Jesus. And that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do with my life. I'm trying to teach my sons about God, about our faith, going to Mass every Sunday. And if I can during the week as well, going to confession, trying to follow what the church teaches, even though it's hard, even though sometimes we don't want to. An example would be NFP. It's very difficult, very difficult. But when we fall, we could always go back. We could always go back to confession. And I just know it's the one true church. I continue to watch videos on Catholic apologetics, reading the catechism, the Bible, praying the rosary, just having, devotions, and also also having a relationship with the saints and asking them to pray for us and all of that. I feel like that's all so important. And the sacraments, just, yeah, sacramentals. The Catholic Church gives us so many tools to help us on this journey. And I'm just so thankful to be Catholic. And I'm so thankful that my husband is as well. He's Catholic. And it just makes it so much easier, to instruct our children in the faith when both of the parents are in agreement to what religion they belong to. But yeah, that's a little bit of my testimony in a nutshell. I'm going to give these little guys some breakfast. And thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit. Bye-bye.